A very warm welcome to all the lovely students and the people who are watching this video right now. Topic for today's presentation is how to give effective PowerPoint presentation. We have the contents of the presentation. In the beginning, I will be giving a brief introduction of the topic, and then the effective ways to deliver the presentation. Third is knowing the audience and their requirements. And the last is how to prepare the multimedia presentation. So firstly, the question arises, what is the need of this presentation, or what is the objective of this presentation? The objective of this presentation is to enable the students to learn the effective presentation skills so that after watching this video, they could be practicing in their own safe environment. Coming to the definition of the PowerPoint presentation, it is a presentation that we create with the help of a software from Microsoft, that is PowerPoint, and we are able to add the videos, pictures into that presentation. So whatever is available on the screen, this is the example, this is the slide, this is one slide of the presentation. Then beginning with effective ways to deliver the presentation, you could say these are the do's or don'ts for the presentation, or you could also say these are the tips and tricks for giving the effective presentation. In the beginning, we have always make yourself comfortable on the stage. This is very important. Never start your presentation in a rush or a hurry. Means make yourself familiar with the surroundings, make yourself comfortable on the stage. You could be checking the mic, you could be checking your presentation, you could be taking a deep breath, and then you should start with the presentation. Next is always try to give the quality content. Means you should be focusing on the quality and not the quantity. You should be well versed with your topic, means you should have a thorough understanding of the topic. Whatever you are putting in your slide, you should be fully aware about it. Next is do not deviate from the topic. Let's suppose our topic is regarding the Indian economy. There would be one slide on the comparison between Indian economy and the Japanese economy, but it is not possible or acceptable that you are putting more than 15 slides or the half of the presentation is on the Japanese economy. Next is do not use the jargon. Jargon is a technical language. Means you should not be using the technical language, and your presentation should be such that it is understandable even by a layman. If you are using the complex sentences or the difficult terms just to impress the audience, then you are a failure. Means you are not able to serve the purpose of the presentation. Your presentation should be in very easy language. Next is do not lie and be humble always. Whenever you are on the stage, you owe the stage. Means if there is any question from the audience side, if you are not aware of about the topic or the answer, just apologize and say I will be doing my homework and coming back with a different presentation next time. Means do not try to cheat or lie whenever you are on the stage, because these days people have the Google in their hands, so you will be caught and you will be a victim. Next is do not mug up. Mug up means rattle. So try to understand the concept or the topic, but do not mug up the whole content. Next is do not write the full paragraphs, use the bullets instead. Means never you write the full paragraphs on the presentation, and you should not be reading from the slides. Just give the different numberings of the bullets and take them as a clue and then explain in your own wording. Okay? Then next is in case of any interruption, always do a little recap of what has already been said. Means whenever we are on stage, there will be different kind of disruptions, there will be technical errors, and it disturbs your flow. So what could be done in those circumstances? After the interruption, just pause and tell the audience what has been covered in the presentation till now. Next is always pause in between and keep on asking the audience about the understanding of the topic. Means try to develop a rapport with the audience. Keep on asking them, are you getting me? If this is understandable. Okay, try to maintain a sort of rapport with the audience. Next is slang should be avoided at any cost. So here we are talking about the professional presentation. Slang should never be used. The examples of slang are hey bro. So these kinds of words should be avoided at any cost. Next is we are continuing with the effective ways to deliver the presentation. Do not panic. Means this is very easy to say that do not panic. But whenever we are at stage, we are always nervous. This is truth. So what could be done? Means if your hands are shivering, you could be holding a pen or a paper in your hand in the beginning stages. Or if your legs are shivering, you could be taking the help of the podium. Okay? Then we are moving towards the end of the presentation. Like always give the summary of the presentation. Or there could be some social message, environmental message in your presentation. Or you could be providing a crux of your presentation. Crux means you are going to summarize your presentation. Next is we are talking about this multimedia presentation. Do not use the over effects and the fancy terms should be avoided. Means here we are at professional place talking about professional presentations. So effects like we are talking about transitions. That there is a curtain opening or our slide is being wrapped into a pigeon or parrot and then it is flying. So these kinds of trimmings should be avoided. Next is try to be as interactive as possible. Yes, you can be interactive with the audience. There are two phases at which you could be interactive with the audience. First is in the beginning. Let's suppose your topic is regarding technology. You could be asking the audience how many of you possess iPhone, just to make the audience comfortable. Or you could be asking feedback at the end of the session. Okay. Then this is the last one. Always rehearse in the front of a mirror with a smile. Means practice makes a man perfect. If you are able to smile when you are at stage, you are a winner. And this is very effective tip. Always practice your presentation if you are a beginner in the front of a mirror with a smile. You could be practicing your PPT in the front of your family members, in your PGs, in your hostels, in the presence of your roommates. So practice is always a goal. Okay. So we have the next topic, that is knowing the audience and their requirements. It is similar to the evaluation criteria for the presentation or the rubrics for the presentation. In this we have the first heading, that is content. This is very important. It is further divided into three parts, that is organization of the material, word and sentence quality and clarity of the objective statement. First is organization of the material. Means your content should move. Firstly, we should have the introduction and then the content or the subject matter and in the last the conclusion. It should not happen that your conclusion is arriving before the introduction. Second is word and sentence quality. Means whatever you are going to put into your slides, always check their spellings. And the sentence quality means there should be simple, meaningful sentences in your presentation. Third is clarity of objective statement. Means what is your topic? What is the need of that topic? Means you should be clear about the objective of your presentation or the topic. Next we have the vocal cues. This is very important. In communication we always say the more vocal you are, more successful you are. So in this we have the first point, that is intonation. Intonation is the rise or fall in the volume. So it should not be that sometimes you are very high, sometimes you are very low. Second is speed. You should not be going at a very fast pace. Third is volume. Means no doubt your volume should be audible to the audience, but it should not be too high or too low. Next we have the articulation. Articulation is similar to the pronunciation. We have Google these days, so always check for the pronunciation of the words that you are going to put into your presentation. Last we have the modulation. Modulation is your voice quality. Means how soft your voice is. Means it simply depends upon the topic of your presentation. Sometimes we are talking about the sensitive topics. Then you could not be speaking in a loud voice. Your voice should always be soft in those areas. Next we have the visual cues. This is another important aspect of effective PowerPoint presentation. Firstly, we have the posture, gestures, appearance, and the facial expressions. Firstly, we talk about the posture. Means you should be standing straight. It will automatically give confidence to your personality. Second, we have the gestures. In gestures, we talk about the hand movements. Means never should you should be standing with closed hands. You should be able to express your opinion with the help of hand movements. Third is appearance. In appearance, we talk about the formal dressing. For boys, it is like formal shoes, trousers, plain shirt and a blazer. For girls, it could be formal skirt, formal trousers, formal shirt and a blazer. If we talk about the Indian formal attire, for girls, you could be wearing a plain kurta also with a flat belly. That is also accepted. Then we have the audio visual aids. Here we are talking about the color scheme that you have opted, the background. So firstly is the visual design. Means the colors that you are using in your presentation. For the formal presentations, they could be black, blue, grey color. But you should not be using the fluorescent colors or bright colors for your professional presentation. Next is appropriateness. Means you could always be putting the pictures in the presentation, but simply for the sake of putting the picture, you should not be doing so. It should be appropriate with the content of your topic. Third is the use in the presentation. Furthermore, it is important how you are using different videos, pictures in your presentation. There is one effective tip for all of you that you could always include a short video in your presentation. Video should be included either at the beginning of the presentation or the end of the presentation. Idea to put the presentation in the beginning is the audience will get connected with you, audience will understand the topic, and also you will get 2-3 minutes to get or make yourself comfortable on the stage. Next we have the eye contact. Means you should not be giving your presentation looking at the ceiling or the floor. Try to make eye contact with the audience. It is not easy in the beginning to make the eye contact with the audience. So I have another tip for all of you. Means in the beginning you could be making the eye contact with your friends. And you could request them to nod your head while you are speaking. Means this will give you confidence to go with your presentation. Next is involves entire audience. Means always try to make audience a part of your presentation. Okay? Last is question handling. Means always request the audience to write down your queries and ask them at the end of the session. And whenever at the end of the session there is a query, be eager to handle questions. Means you should be saying, thank you sir, thank you ma'am for asking the question and being a patient listener. Second is, you should be courteous. Courteous means you should be giving respect to the person who is asking the question. Means you should be addressing like, sir or ma'am. Third is you should be honest. I have already mentioned this. Whenever you are at stage, you could not be fool people. You need to be honest. If you are not aware of any topic or subject, politely admit it. Next is tackle tricky issues calmly. Sometimes it happens that the people from the audience ask something that pinch you. Like there could be questions on reservation also. So you should not be going in for the emotional outburst, but you should be tackling those questions with a calm face. You should not be reactive when you are on the stage, when you are addressing the audience. When you are a speaker, you owe the stage. And one more thing, if the audience is not listening to you, then it is your problem and not the problem of the audience. It is your responsibility to convince the audience for the presentation. So we are moving towards the third part of the presentation, that is how to prepare the multimedia presentation. If you follow these notes, you will be able to make the presentation, but then also this is some more practical subject. So you could always come to me for the help. My name is Gupta, Department of Commerce, and I'm Modi College, Patiala. So beginning with, if you are online, you could follow this link, or if the PowerPoint is already installed in your PC, then we have different options to open it. First is you could be going into the search bar and typing PowerPoint, and you would be getting this home page of the Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. Other is, if your file is already open of the PPT, you could go to this and you could always create a new PPT. So we have the option of blank presentation over here. Simply click on the create and you will be able to start with your presentation. Further, we have the option of different templates in the presentation, which is shown here. So you could go to the My Templates and you could be choosing the template of your own choice. We will be discussing the same thing in the future slides. So moving ahead. Okay. So the next we have is review the available templates. In the design button, we have the available templates. So you could be choosing from any of these templates, but I would like to advise for the professional presentation, don't go for the dark colors like magenta. Always go for the low tone colors like grey, blue, black. And what could be done further is either you choose the white background and the black text on it, or either the black background and the white text on it. So you could be always playing with these different templates, color schemes, and you could be choosing the background or the template of your own choice. Next is, if you further want to select a theme in the template, you could always do so. Third is creating the title slide. When I started this presentation, I was having a title slide that was effective presentation. Then I have mentioned that this presentation has been made by me. So your title slide should be complete in all aspects. You should be mentioning what is the topic of your presentation. It has been submitted to who, or it has been made by you. Next is, if you want to add a subtitle to your presentation, you could always be doing that. We are rearranging the title text boxes. We get the text box in the presentation, and it is very easy to put the text into the boxes. Either you could be copying them, means cut, copy, paste from your text on your Word file, or you could be writing them. It is very easy. With practice, you would be able to learn that. Yes, so further you could always change the font size or the style of the text simply by selecting the text, and then these buttons will be highlighted. From here you could change the font size, like here I am changing, and you can always change the style of the text in a similar manner. Further moving ahead, it is very easy to insert a new slide into your presentation. We have other option also. If you put the Ctrl M, new slide will be inserted into your presentation, and if you want to delete it, simply right click it and delete this extra slide from the presentation. So moving ahead, we could be selecting a different type of slides for your presentation. We have title slide, we have two content slide, and so on. Further, you could always reposition your slides. Simply click on the slide in the left hand corner and drag it to the position where you want to fit it. Next is editing the slide. Again, this is very easy. Simply click on the slide, it will become the current slide, and you can always make the changes in that slide. Okay. Next is format the slides text. I have already mentioned this. You could always change the color, font size, style, and you could always make the text box big or small simply by dragging it. Next is, it is very easy to add the photos to the slide. Simply go to the insert button over here, and from here you could be putting bar graphs, charts, and different clip arts into your presentation. Next is adding the transitions. Transitions means how your slides would appear into your presentation. So we could always be putting the transitions or the various effects just to make the presentation more interesting. So in this animations button we have different transitions available. You could check them and put that into your presentation. Transition would be applied on the slide that is the current slide. Next is, after applying the transition effect, you could check your presentation, you could check your slide. This is the last step of making the multimedia presentation, testing and saving your presentation. Once you are done with your presentation and you want to check if anything is left out, you should be proofreading your presentation. For this purpose, click on the slideshow button and then from the current slide, and you will be able to get this full screen on the projector or on your laptop. So you could be proofreading each and every slide on this, and if you want to make any changes, simply press the escape button and you will get the same window that we were working upon, and then you can make the changes in your presentation. Then always proofread your presentation, as I have already mentioned. If you want to make any changes, you can do so. So this is the last point of your making this PowerPoint presentation, that is saving your PowerPoint presentation. Simply go to this button and press the save button. It will show you the destination. Means you need to select the destination where you want to save, or if you wanted to save it on your desktop. This is my already prepared presentation and it is already saved on the system, so we are not having that option. This is extra slide, I am going to delete it. Last is this slide. Means at the end of the presentation, you always need to ask the audience if there is any sort of query or the questions from your side. So this was all about the multimedia presentation. In the last, I would like to mention one thing. Means your presentation should always be a paisa vasool presentation. Whenever we go to watch any movie, the cost of the ticket is from 200 to 250 rupees. And after watching the video or the movie, we always say that whether it is paisa vasool or not. In the similar manner, if you are delivering a presentation and the audience is able to learn even a single thing from your presentation after attending your presentation, that means it was a paisa vasool presentation. So thank you so much for being a patient listener.